Welcome to the Virtual Business Owners Network on Friday, the 11th of August, 2023. And here we have Vincent Healy all the way from Milan, although he might be in Ireland at the moment. I forgot where you are at the moment, Vincent, talking about Slack and how he's using it and why we should consider it again. Take it away, Vincent.
Hello and good morning from Milan. This is, we'll call it the Idiot's Guide to Slack, because it's designed for idiots. It's really easy to use. As Chris mentioned, it is everything that's a communication tool more than anything else, but it's actually more than a communications tool, although that's its ultimate goal. Is it basically makes your life easier, because we have like 10 different ways of communicating and you might be on 3 different devices. This kind of, imagine bringing everything into one place, bundle everything up together and filters it out to where it's supposed to go so that you can check it. I actually have 2 of these two Slack accounts. Both work off the same page. I've got one for the virtual VBON. I've got one for another business, and I can switch between the 2. You could probably have 4 or 5 or 6 of these all working at the same time. So you can actually spend your day going through one, fixing that, going through the next one, checking that. But there's so much more to it than just a communication tool. As mentioned before, you can set up projects, you can do a whole bunch of different things. Anything that you could do with anything else you can do with Slack, except that the general ease of Slack is that it's got everything that you were doing outside Slack in one place, on one screen, on one template. Now, VBON is not a business as such, and Slack is designed for business, but VBON is a communications center. That's why I think that Slack would make sense for the VBON, because communication is the key to success for everything. And this is the greatest communications tool that I've seen. You can have your private messages, you can create your own projects. Some people can go in and out. We have one there, there's a channel called Help. You can ask any question, but if people are not using it, you're never going to get an answer. And we need to get that snowball rolling. You'll be surprised how much faster that snowball will fall or tumble the more it's used. People will find benefits in it that they didn't know existed in the past. You can advise people. I got this today, just like we have our good news. You go, oh, I learned this today and this is great for everybody. People could go into that from just, maybe they'll find something positive in there, something maybe a little bit inspiring. Now, it's the way I like to think about it is that there are many, many benefits from it. There is only one problem with the free plan. There are various paid plans like every other app in the world. The free plan, in my opinion, its only problem I've decided to turn into a benefit. You get 90 days of all of your files, all of your messages, all of anything that you've done. Anything will be deleted within 90 days. Now, I figured that you could create goals on this in your business to have them done within 90 days. And then you could simply copy and paste it into Google, which is free anyway. So, and just continue so that you'll always have that information there. You can create video calls just like this. We could have VBON through Slack without a problem. Sorry, Sean Hyland, I know you've done a great job there, but it's just something that you could do. That you chat, any app that you have works in Slack. And I'll show you right now, because I just clicked on, for example, I wanted to know what I can get. So this is, you get a Slack app directory. And within the Slack app directory, I picked one that suited me. It's called Go Squared, and it's just one that you can add to Slack. It's completely free to add anything to Slack. And if there's any costs with it, it will usually describe it. It will send you directly to their page, so you can figure out what it is, anything that you use already. But Slack actually advertise all of the different ones that they're used, the most important ones and down to the smaller ones. It's free to add to Slack, pretty much anything as far as I can see. And it's just a press of a button. You can see this button here, add to Slack, and that's it, you're in. Pretty much. Then you can, I went for this one, you can get Slack for Gmail. This is the one everybody has. And all of your Gmails can go immediately through Slack, so that you're not checking your Gmails nonstop. Anything that's, you can funnel them into different groups into Slack. Again, it's just add to Slack, put it in, and everything that comes in through Gmail will go onto your Slack. And again, as Chris said, there's literally hundreds and hundreds of various different apps that can do this, and there's no integration needed. It's just add to Slack, and there you go. You're kind of in. Benefits, I think for the VBON, benefits will be seen through participation, not at the very start, because we don't know the benefits yet, because nobody's using it. So if you use it, the benefits will arise, and if we don't use it, we'll never know what the benefits are. And if we use it and we don't find any benefits, that's one thing, but without using it, we'll never know whether we have benefits or not. And I think that's the most important thing, that if we try it, if there's kind of some kind of a promotion in order to get people to use it, I think it would be a good idea. Anyway, that's my really easy way to use Slack. It works for me, even though I only use it for one thing and not two. You can integrate, look right there, you can integrate Zoom, you can integrate any of the Google suite, anything, your Teams, whatever it is, it can all be done in Slack. You can create canvases, you can create like presentations, anything you want can be done on Slack. You can upload your files, anything. I've got none there, but you can upload them easily enough. They will all be deleted after 90 days. That's the only issue, but you can copy and paste anything and put it back onto a Word document or a Google document or whatever you use, and you'll always have that information. I think that's a bonus, because it makes you work faster in a business. Or if for some reason we had some kind of a project or anything to do in the VBON, we could have a 90-day limit. We have a deadline. We have to get this done by then. And it gets you more interested in what you're doing, because if there's no deadlines, it's easy to go over. If there is a deadline, we're going to lose this completely. It'll be gone, gone completely. Then it's kind of great motivation to actually get it done. So that's me, and I'll leave it there. Chris Wheeler next week is going to make a complete show of this, and thank you for that. And that's it. If there's any questions, I can only tell you what I know.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks, Vincent, for that. I'm sure we have questions. If you want to unshare, then we'll get into the questions. And obviously, Chris will be talking in more detail. When you talk about things, having a 90-day, lifespan, if you're integrating with something like YouTube or one of the other things, I presume that if it's on YouTube and in Slack, while the Slack may go, the YouTube remains in place. Would that be correct?
Yeah, they can't touch anything that's outside of Slack, but on the inside, they just delete it and you start again. You create a new file with the same name and you keep going, but you lose everything if you don't copy and paste it. And that's the only problem. There are paid plans. One of them is quite cheap. I think it's $5 a month or something. Then there's a more kind of enterprise plan, which is a bit more expensive. I don't know. I'm sure we don't need that, but in maybe if you've got 50 employees or 100 employees who are all active and stuff is serious, you might want to keep your 90 days open forever.
Yeah, I've joined Slack there a couple of weeks ago now, and I just introduced myself and put my business name up, but it might be somewhat good for your SEO as well.
I don't know. Okay. This would be Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Chris.
There are actually now 2,600 apps that you can integrate with Slack. I thought it was 500, but it's not. It's 2,600, so it's huge.
Yeah.
And I see it for us as being like, we're like a community, yeah, and we're not selling to each. I know there's business being done in the group, but we're not selling to each other. So for you, Alec, I think it would be really good because we can put our advice and tips and things down there, and then you can look and see who's talking about what, and does it make sense to reach out to them to create a talk on it? Yeah, and it's a central point for everybody to share their knowledge base. So
we use it internally ourselves. We have a couple of channels. Funnily enough, the one that tends to be mostly used is the one we just call banter. So basically, because we're all based all over the place, it ends up being just where we chat on anything. But we do have one set up for accounts, money laundering, tax, engagement letters, general, payroll, whatever. But as you say, yeah, if you had one that was just like, tips, and you could even break the tips down into tips technology, tips finance, tips whatever, depending on how granular you want to be.
Yeah.
And people just share things in there. And I think there's an element of that guy, Irish guy, who sort of said speed trumps perfection. I think if we wait to try to set up the perfect Slack group, we'll still be talking about it next year. Whereas if we just go with the one that Vincent has set up, and as just jump out of the plane without the parachute and get moving on it, and it'll evolve into what makes sense for the group.
Isn't there already there?
No, it's there.
It's been set up. By the way, Sean, if you can hear me, if you have the one-to-one links, I'd appreciate that. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah. I
Thanks.
was driving, Alec, but I've stopped now, so I'm going to do that now.
That's grand. Appreciate that. So we do have one, but nobody engaged with, including myself, because I'm still looking for the compelling reason. I keep looking at these things, and trying to understand them. Chris, talk away. You can.
No, I've just put the link in the chat for everybody, so you can straight through to that. We invited a load of people last week.
Many joined last week.
Many did join, and equally a lot of people are now engaging with LinkedIn, so we're starting to see something there as well this morning.
Yeah, well, in fairness, what I've asked for is a bit of help with the social media. And in fairness, Amit kind of stepped forward and said, yeah, I'll do the basics. I'm not a social media specialist, but, I'll put something up on LinkedIn before and after each meeting just to get some engagement and to inquire. And also just what I think about what's...
All of that can go through Slack as well. All of your LinkedIn, your Facebooks, all of those things, your Instagrams, anything just can go all the way through. You get a notification from one place only, and that's it.
I'd like to see how that works for, obviously for me. Now, again, are we going to have to subscribe to this? Because am I putting my hand in my pocket again for this? And I don't know what it is monthly.
It's free.
It's free.
Don't touch anything.
All right, that's okay then.
Chris, how do I actually join into it? Because if I try to add this workspace into my Slack, it's asked me for what did it ask me for? It's asked me to sign in with Google, sign in with Apple, or put in a work email address and sign in with email.
Yeah, you can do that. You can see the link in the chat. Yeah, virtual.
Yeah. No,
you just click it down with your email.
Okay, I'll see what happens. Okay,
should be fine.
You can also invite people from outside to come in and collaborate as well.
That would widen the network as well. You can from outside.
So, for example, Alec, I know that you had mentioned that you were in talks with some other various groups, and that if they have a Slack, we could invite members in to talk with us on various different. Again, this is not a business. It's not like a traditional business. So I would say projects or collaborations we could have, all of this can be done in a centralized position through communication. That's basically what Slack is. It's to centralize all communication. Because as you said earlier to me before we came on, you said like, we've got like noise coming from every angle, and it's difficult to separate the noise from what I need to know now and what people are shouting at me from the right hand side, and this separates it and it funnels it out, and you can read it in a linear way. And that's what I like about it, because you can hook your phone up to it, you can hook your emails, your messaging apps, all of them just go straight into it, and you can get everything in linear form like this, chronologically, or any way you want. And it works. But I know the VBON, it's not an actual business, but it is a collaboration. And
yeah, that's how we use it in Matrix. It's a channel just for the design team.
Yeah, I think
so that it's almost a secure channel for the design team, where they can say things that they wouldn't necessarily want to say in Basecamp.
Exactly.
And it doesn't go to the rest of the company.
I think the interesting thing is there's like I'm in Scale Island on Slack, and there's 2,000 people on there, and they're all startups and different types of companies and whatever. And I think Vincent's point is really critical, that if you connect with other Slack groups, they've already bought into Slack. So there's kind of an adoption early, that there's already a basis there. And Scale Island is not actually, I would say, so active, but the help system is. And they have Ask Me Anythings and things like that once a month, and somebody comes in and talks from wherever. But on a day-to-day basis, because it's a community and not a business like this, you don't see it as being so active. You see 1 or 2 posts, but there's really good information in there. And obviously startups need help from wherever they can get it. So it makes sense.
Back in the day when I'm a member of Island Together Slack community, and that started right when COVID kicked in, and that was really active, and there was like loads to take up. There was events being advertised. They'd have a Friday meeting, which was all coaching and mentoring. Then there was coffee drop-ins, Ask Me Anything. People were getting tagged if it was relevant to their business. It was really, really active. It's unfortunate now, is very much the 4 co-founders are so busy with their own work that it's sort of really dropped off, as the coffee drop-in is just there. But they've got like hundreds of members that could potentially, as you said, if they're in one Slack channel, want to collaborate in others. So